Good morning, everybody. Well, thank you for being here with us this morning on this webinar. My name is Gaurav Shekhar. I'm the Program Director for the Graduate Business Analytics Flex and online programs here at UT Dallas. I have my colleague Sylvia Leventhal with me, who's the Program Manager, and we're very thankful that you decided to join us here. Daylight savings is in place, so in case you're joining us internationally and there was, you probably ended up joining a little earlier than expected. Well, our apologies for that, but then we are now, let's say, an hour ahead of what used to be before this past weekend. The format of this webinar is straightforward. We will talk about the program a little bit for the first 15-20 minutes, and then we'll straight away go into your questions. If you can put your question in the chat, that'll be great. We generally cover all the questions that are there. And if you've put your question once, that should be enough. We will be able to take that question in the course of this webinar. So let me share my screen here and we'll get started right away. Okay. Business analytics at UT Dallas. And honestly, to answer that question, that why you should choose us or why we can help you with your academic pursuit, I would like to go a little back and really talk about why business analytics at all. Why the world is so enamored by this concept of business analytics. Is it really something that is needed, or is it just a fad? And to really answer that question, and this is something that I want you all also to reflect on, that when you're going for this degree, what are you really expecting out of it? And making an informed decision is very important, because it's not just a small commitment in terms of time and money. It is a major commitment. And for a lot of you, it might be a milestone in your lives. Some of you might decide to stop a full-time job to do this. Some of you might add it on top of another commitment that you have, whether it is professional or personal. So we want you to make this decision, in a way that you are well informed. Talking about business analytics, the data has always been the underlying factor why we have computer systems in place. To be honest, it has always been about data management. And depending on the maturity of the organization, it has been either streamlined or fragmented. And to be honest, what appears to be streamlined today, 10 years later, is very fragmented because of a lot of reasons. However, organizations understood some time back that there is a lot of value in understanding what their patterns are. So rather than going by somebody's hunch or just their experience and not actual numbers, was not a very good, and I would say it was a high risk way of making any kind of decisions. And you would not want to go that way. Honestly, if I ask you, how would you like to plan your day tomorrow? You would want to go with something that gives you that certainty. And without data, you miss out on the certainty. Everybody wants to predict the future, because if you knew what is going to happen in the future, you will plan accordingly. And that's the power everybody wants. So that's where companies started understanding the language of data. And to do that, there are a lot of different instruments and tools. Now, I'm not talking about softwares, but how do you model your data? How do you engineer your data? How do you provision it for somebody so that they can create those models, fine-tune those models, optimize those models, understand what the values, numbers are being thrown out, and interpreting those numbers in the way that you make the best decisions. Now, when we talk about data, it's definitely there in every industry. If your industry doesn't have data, then either you are right at the early, of the curve where it will happen, or maybe your industry has not really matured enough to do that. But with digital implementations and digitization of industries, there is nobody who is left out in this. But what the industry also needs is qualified professionals, and the operating word here is qualified. You can go create a chart, and that doesn't make you an analytics professional. Let's address that right away up front, because just creating a few charts or making some nice glossy presentations is not analytics. Analytics really requires you to understand a lot of things beyond just data presentation. And unfortunately, a lot of organizations who probably might be just using a visualization tool to look at their data in a nice, way with these new types of charts and all, may not be really indulging in analytics. So we have to be very careful as to what we really call analytics. And there is a huge dearth of qualified professionals who can do this in the industry. And that is really to your advantage, because if you are learning this trade, if you're learning how to do analytics, then you're really in like that, in the early group of those people who are learning the art. And as we see every year, this is not us just making this up, this is real data that tells us a lot of companies are setting up their analytics practices now. So I think the time is right for you to indulge into something like this. Now, this will require work, to be honest. Let me tell you that. If you're thinking this is a program in which you will just memorize some chapters and write a few papers and be done with it, it's not like that. It's intense, it's hands-on, because our goal is to make you so confident with analytics that it doesn't matter whether you work in a team of people or you are an independent contributor, you can very confidently go and do your job. And I'm sure that's the skill even you want. You want your program to train you for the extremities that you will see at work. Train you so that you become that valuable asset that your employer and your organization depends on the quality of your work. So absolutely, that rigor is there in the program. And because we are in the business school, we are placed in a very special zone. Why I say that is because our goal is not only to you understand how these programs work, or how these models are created or built or whatever it is, but what is the application of it. Now, we do have folks who are more on the computer science side of thing and might be doing some similar things, but where we come in is on the creation as well as the application side of things. So a student who goes through the MSBA program really gets to see the 360-degree of how a problem arises, how you use analytics to come up with solutions, and then how you implement it. So the whole context is known to our students. Now, flexibility is our key theme. And why we say it is a key theme, because you get the chance to pick the courses in the order you want to, in the time you want to do that. And the degree can be done in 9 months, the degree can be done in 72 months. Now, nobody takes 72 months. Most of the people are done in 1.5 years. But you have the flexibility to choose. There are umpteen number of electives, and that is where we really differentiate. And I'll be showing you the catalog in a few minutes, but more than 70 choices are there for you to pick 6 electives. And the amount of choices that you have, no other university can provide this. I mean, this is an open challenge. You go and not in a challenging way, but if you go and just compare our curriculum to others, you will see that our curriculum is much more mature and way ahead and more flexible in terms of how you want to mold your degree experience. The other thing is, there are programs that can be finished in 1 year, and we say ours can also be done in 9 months if you really want to stack up. But here is the thing. You just can't sit in the classroom and learn these things and feel confident. There should be an element of you having the chance to experience, or through some experiential learning programs, to apply what you're learning. And that's where we give you that flexibility to extend it beyond 1 year, so that you can be confident. At the end of the day, you are confident about something or you're not confident about something. That's it. People who do well in certain things, they're confident about it. The things that they're petrified about, they're not. And we want you to be confident with this. So that's where the duration of the program is set in a way that you can decide how much you want to spend in terms of testing your skills. Now, there are students who take our courses where they are project-based courses, or they take courses or competitions for that matter, where they go and they compete, and that helps them to use the skills that they're learning in the program and vet it against real challenges. Engagement is our key. because yes, you can do a lot in the classroom, but there is a way bigger world outside the classroom. And yes, the classroom prepares you for that world. But we want to give you that opportunity to get engaged with different elements of the school. Honestly, there are so many executives that walk in the hallways, and that you have the opportunity to go and talk to them firsthand. I mean, to an extent, at some point you'll feel like there's too much happening and you have too less of a time, and that's a good problem to have. In fact, a lot of our students tell that their friends and their peers who are in other universities, they don't get the same experience. And we do take a lot of pride in what we do, and the kind of things that we do with our students, so to make sure that you have a complete experience and you don't lack anything when you graduate from here. But yes, we are also very focused on outcomes. We want to make sure that what we are doing, we are measuring it, and we are able to make sure that if there are any tweaks required, any kind of adjustments required, that are made, because we want to maximize the value for you. That's our key goal there. Now, it's a 36 credit STEM designated program. We have entries in all the 3 semesters, fall, spring, and summer. 18 credits, which is half of the program, is your core classes. Every MSBA student needs to take those 6 core classes. And I'll talk about that when I get to the catalog. But then the electives can be picked out from any of these 10 tracks. And you decide how you want to mix it. You want to take all electives from one track? Yeah, do it. You want to pick one from 6 different tracks? Absolutely, that's also possible. We let you do that. And some of the people who say that, there are more courses we want to take beyond just the 36, you can do that. In your graduating semester, you can take more than 36 credits. I mean, that's the total in the program. So let's say you are just left with 3 credits in your graduating semester, and there are 2 other courses that you like and you want to take. Absolutely, we will let you do that. We are the largest in the country, and all these 70, 80 classes that I was just talking about, that can only be offered because we are a big program. Now, when I say we are the largest, it doesn't mean that all 1,000 of our MSBA students get to sit in the same classroom. Well, there are different sections. If let's say there is a stats class, just for an example, a lot of students take that in the first semester. Yeah, there'll be like 8 sections for that. There are electives, maybe we'll have a couple sections for that. There are popular electives, we might open 5, 6 sections for that. So depending on the demand and the popularity, we open up these sections. But you may be taking a certain set of classes, another peer of yours might be taking another set of classes. So all of you don't do things together, but you, as I said, you get to choose what you want to do. And despite such a large program and the fact that we have, for the past 2 springs, we have been graduating 300 plus students, they are still hitting that average of 100K. That tells a lot about the program. Now, UT Dallas is ranked #1 in the state of Texas when it comes to return on investment, and our high salaries really justify that. The highest packages go in the range of 250 to 300K. We have partnerships with dozens of companies, and the word partnership can mean different for different people. For us, it means that these are people with whom we work rigorously. We make sure that these people are invested in curriculum development, judging our competitions, speaking in our classes, hiring interns, giving our students full-time jobs. These are people that work with us left, right, and center, and they're leaders in the industry. We are literally on each other's speed dial. When I say high return on investment, most of the banks will give you a loan for 7 to 12 years with that payback period. And our students are paying it back in 2, 2.5, 3 years. And that's possible because of the kind of money they're making. And it's not like that they're spending all the money in paying back loans. They're living comfortably. They're able to support their families, and they're able to pay back their loans as well. Almost 600 internships. So 500 to 600 has been the number for us for the last several years. And $24 to $28, $29 is the range that we have been seeing. In fact, last summer, we're gearing up for the next summer internships, but last summer our highest was about $105 an hour, which is huge. There are 3 formats: the Flex program, cohort, and online. Flex is the one which has all the 10 tracks that we just talked about. Most of the classes are face-to-face, a few of them are online, self-paced, and it's state-funded, which means if you get a Dean's Excellence Scholarship in the program, your tuition, if you're an out-of-state student, will change into in-state, which is like 50% reduction on the tuition. Cohort has two of the tracks, which are also there in Flex. That's data science and accounting analytics. They also have the same modalities. Mostly they are face-to-face classes, a few online classes. Again, self-paced, and they have their own scholarships. If you're interested in that program, I would recommend reaching out to the program directly. And then the online program is 100% online. If you are a working professional or somebody who wants to do this 100% online, again, it has two tracks, data science and data engineering. And that's the one. The scholarships that I'm talking about, the Dean's Excellence Scholarship, is for the Flex program. Cohort has their own, and that's where you need to reach out to them to figure out what it is. But GRE and GMAT waivers are available. Now, we will look at your undergrad transcripts to make sure if you are good for that waiver. However, if you want to go for a scholarship, then we need either of the two. Official scores should be sent to us. What do we need as part of the application? We need your GRE or GMAT. Waivers are available, which means once you apply, just send an email to jsomgradvising@UT-Dallas. The link is on, the email address is on the screen. After you have submitted your application, and they will take about a week or so to get back to you whether it is waived off or not. We need your transcripts. Unofficial ones will do, so if you have scanned copies, we can use that to make a decision. But once you're admitted, you're required to send your official ones. Your resume, 3 letters of recommendation, in which at least one has to be a professional letter of recommendation. Now that means it doesn't have to be an employer. It has to be somebody who's a working professional. And then your personal objective statement or essay, a 1-page document, double-spaced, where you talk about why this degree and how it factors into your future plans. We unfortunately cannot give any application fee waivers, being a state institution. However, if you have completed a degree at UT-Dallas at any point of time or are pursuing one right now, you can avail the fee waiver. Those are the only 2 categories who can get a fee waiver. It's $50 for the application fee. And if your undergrad is outside of the US, there is a $50 fee to evaluate your credentials. Now, the deadline for fall is May 1st. However, if there is a late application, we will still accept it until about 2 weeks before the start of classes. The classes will begin on August 23rd for fall. But we can always evaluate your application. There'll be a late fee of $75. However, scholarships, for the Dean's Excellence Scholarship, the deadline is May 1st. And your scholarship application and your official scores should reach us by May 1st. Remember, once you submit it through ETS, it sometimes can take 2 to 3 weeks. So factor that time in. Now, scholarships are available for incoming students, and once you are here at UT-Dallas as a continuing student, you can always apply every fall. TA-ships are not available in the first semester because we want you to spend 1 semester at UT-Dallas before you can become a TA. But you can apply in the first semester for a second semester TA-ship. And let's say that you don't get a scholarship and you become a TA, and we try to make sure that our TAs don't have scholarships because we want to spread the wealth. It's not a hard and fast rule, but that's what we try to do. We don't try to double dip there. But if you become a TA, you get $1,000 as monthly salary, and then that's after taxes. And you also have the ability to pay in-state tuition for that semester. Just wanted to show us a breadth of our internships, the different industries in which our students went. Like IT and software definitely is the biggest chunk, but you can see that's only 25% of the whole block out there. There are all sorts of places that hire MSBA students, and that is a fact that our students go to probably every possible industry out there. Despite the pandemic, our students still ended up, and this is last year's data, with companies that were in most of the states. And even though they were remote internships, for some of them, even if they had to travel, we kind of covered most of the states out there that have jobs. Of course, the top 3 states for our students end up being Texas, California, and New York. Texas is is a great place to work. And as you may have read news about all the different companies that are trying to move to Texas, it's a great place to work. So summer of 21, 26.35 was the average, but the maximum went $105 an hour. And these are hourly rates, by the way. And they are in line with our full-time rates, because 26.35 as an intern equates to about $53,000 per annum as an intern. And the ratio, the ratio is generally 2:1. So if you're earning $1 as an intern, you earn 2 as a full-timer. And that is in line with our $100,000 full-time packages that our students have. The $105 is about 200K. So 200K as an intern was what we saw as the highest package. Apart from what we told you, these are first-hand accounts. So go and check out LinkedIn stories, UTD MSBA, hashtag UTD MSBA, search for that, and you will see thousands of accounts of students doing internships, participating in events. These are first-hand accounts. These are first-hand experiences. And this is a great way for you to see what our students are doing. And of course, these are unmoderated, so these are their own opinions. Student organizations are the soul of UT Dallas, because they are created and they're run by our students. There are more than 350 of them at UTD, plus 60 of them in the School of Management. The ones that you see on your screen are the ones where we see most of our students from the program. The SAP Users Group, Women in Technology, Toastmasters, a flurry of different types of analytics clubs is what attracts our students a lot. By the way, if you don't see one that you like, you can create your own once you're here. This is really another way for you to maximize on the value that you're getting. And again, our USP. We have these certificate programs that are carved out of our degree programs, which means you can get another diploma from UT Dallas, a graduate certificate, which can cost you about $20,000 if you had just come to UT Dallas for one of these. Because these are 3 to 4 courses long certificate programs. If you complete those courses, get an average B, you get that certificate. You can get that certificate way before you graduate from the degree program. You can use that to show to your employers what you have been doing, and can use it to get internships and all. But that is how you maximize your value. And being a degree seeker, by taking those courses, you get credit towards your degree, you get credit towards your certificate, and you don't pay the tuition twice. You pay it once. So that's where you carve out the benefit, which is worth $20,000. It's like free $20,000 right there for you. Once you're here, you can apply to these programs and just come take those 3 or 4 courses. I mean, just to give an example, applied machine learning has 4 courses in it: stats, business analytics with R, applied machine learning, and then NLP or deep learning. Either of the 2 you have to take. 2 of the courses you will anyways complete because you're an MSBA student. So it just boils down to the machine learning and the NLP course or the deep learning course. If you're interested in taking those, take them, get an average B, and you get this certificate. The only thing is, once you're here, you'll have to apply separately, but there is no application fee for this. We will not need all your documents, and you can get this benefit. So this is a really good value add and a way for you to maximize the money that you're getting. Our email addresses are right here, and our phone numbers. You can email us directly, or you can email us on msbuan@utdallas.edu as well. And before I get into questions, I'll just quickly take a second to show the catalog, and then we'll move from there. So I was talking about the 18 credits worth of core classes. Students go through the stats class, prescriptive, predictive analytics, BA with R or SAS. Most of them end up taking it with R, but SAS is also an option. Database class, and then the applied econometrics. These 6 courses are the ones that really fortify your understanding of analytics. And this gives you a very, very solid foundation as to what analytics is. See, to be honest, a lot of degree programs, to be very honest, add a lot of fluff. A lot of fluff, there'll be keywords like AI, deep machine learning, and all that stuff to attract people. But the idea is if you don't have a foundation, what will you do with AI and machine learning? You will hardly get anything. So we make sure that our students do get that foundation. And this is, these are intense classes, but they really help you learn a lot about analytics. You will never feel short-handed, to be honest, after you go through the program and feel underconfident when it comes to analytics. Now, the tracks that we talked about are all listed here, and we'll put this link in the chat. But you can look at all the different courses that are out there, or the number of courses. You talk about big data, RPA, warehousing, cloud computing, cloud solution architecture. We have a lot of courses around Salesforce and AWS as well. We employ Python, R, whatnot, and all these different tracks gives you the ability to learn as much as you want about these particular areas. So just wanted to share that. Okay, with that, I think I can take questions right now, and I'll go through the chat. So if you have any questions, just put it in the chat and we'll take that up. Okay, let me go to the. Okay, just give me one moment here. Okay, so Kachi, you are asking, you have a CGPA of 3.7 in your undergrad degree. Are you exempted from taking the GMAT GRE? So the exemption for GRE, for an automatic exemption, if you are from an AACSB accredited school and you have a 3.6 or above, you get that. So if your school is AACSB accredited, we will give you an automatic waiver for GRE GMAT. Lashmikan, what's the maximum number of credits we can fulfill using internships out of 36 total credits? So it's 3 credits. The max that you can do. You can do your first internship for 0 credits. You don't have to really give credits. But if you want to take 3 is the max, and that 3 comes out of your electives. It's not on top of 36. It is within those 36 credits. And yes, internship is required in the program, and we do support students. It's a shared responsibility. You look for internships. We also help you with that through our network. And between the 2 of us, we should be able to help you out. G1, can students at MSBO and Flex program extend their academic semester longer than 1.5 years? Mandatory? Yes, you can. You can absolutely do that. 1.5 to 2 years is the average that our students take. I mean, there are students, a lot of them who will end up finishing it in 2 years. 2 years is technically 22 months. So let's say you come in fall of 22. Most of the students who start in fall of 22 will graduate in spring of 24, which is 22 months. Now, if a student is an international student, they are bound by how many credits they can take. You can take less. You're supposed to be a full-time student, but you can take less than, and full-time students is 9 credits. You can take less than 9 credits if there is an internship, but you can't do that in back-to-back semesters. So there are restrictions. There are exemptions, but there are also restrictions around it. So that's why if it's an international student, most of you end up doing it for 1.5, 2. Some of you even extended by another semester, but I've not seen many people go beyond 2.5 unless there was a specific reason why they could not finish the degree within that time. Do the program provide CPT on a semester basis? So a good question. At the moment, once you complete 18 credits, you are allowed to do your CPT, and CPT can only be done for 364 days. It's not continuous, but a total duration of your CPT can be 364. It could be, and it is semester to semester. So let's say you did your CPT in one semester and then next semester you didn't do anything and then another one you started off, we will just count the number of days when you worked, not the actual calendar days between the two CPTs. Dharmik, what classes do you recommend in the... Okay, so again, if you're already admitted, our advisors are working on removing the holds. Somewhere in the first week, the first 2 weeks of April, you will see your appointment to start enrolling for classes, and you can start doing that. Now, we will have another webinar dedicated just to our fall 22 students who are admitted and who have accepted the admits. But technically, the first semester courses are stats, databases, and business analytics with R. Again, that's a recommendation. You're not forced to do that. The only course that you are required to do in the first semester is the professional development course, and that's for 1 credit, and it's not part of the 36 credits. And in case your admit letter states that you need to do the foundational course on calculus, that's the one that you'll have to do. But apart from that, you pick and choose. The reason why we say stats, database, and BA with R works in the first semester is because they are prereqs for a lot of advanced courses. So that's where your planning comes into picture. You plan what the prereqs are and you accordingly take your classes. Rashmi, the minimum duration is 9 months, the maximum is 72 months. Average is 17 to 22 months. Alika, yes, it is a STEM designated program, which means that if your employer wants a STEM degree, well, that's there. If you're an international student, you get that extended OPT. How much scholarships are available in flex versus cohort for international students? Well, again, that number, that's not a fixed number, but we try to keep the proportions very similar. And again, it is all based on the pool and the competitiveness of your application against that pool. Lakshmikant, does Flex has any capstone? Yes, we do. We have a course called Practicum that, let's say you don't get an internship and we need you to get that experience, we'll put you into a capstone project, but it's not a mandatory course. Plus, the program doesn't have any thesis requirements, or there's no comprehensive exam at the end of the degree that you have to write. But a lot of our courses do have group projects as well. So, you will have that group project experience in multiple classes. Lakshmi, you applied on 11th March. So typically the turnaround time is official is 4 to 6 weeks, but our team is able to do that in 2 to 3 weeks also sometimes. Is it mandatory that all G1? So yes, if you are an F1 student, you'll have to use your CPT visa. And again, international students cannot work on anything that is not authorized by the school. So you can't just go out and start working anywhere. That'll be a violation. Yes, the school definitely supports. The school has multiple ways to do that. For example, we put together a resume book and we reach out to more than 1,500 employers to tell them that, hey, our students are ready for internships. Here is this resume book. Go ahead, start calling them. We also help by bringing companies, there might be an exclusive opportunity for a company to come visit us, talk to our students. We're actually working on a few of them in the next few weeks. And then you get a chance to talk to those employers. They might just end up the day by hiring 5, 6 of you and leave. And that's a one-day thing. So we do help a lot. Our career management center brings in a lot of, we call it the CMC. They bring a lot of companies. Plus the university's career center does a few job fairs throughout the semester. So again, there are multiple ways through which you can really get that face time with companies. And honestly, it all depends on how well you network. So if you spend time on networking with people, building up your connections, honestly, things like internships and full-time jobs are cakewalks if you are doing things the right way. Alika, can a student do internship in this last semester to fulfill the rather than taking a course? Yes, an internship is considered a face-to-face class, and in your last semester, you're just required to do minimum 1 credit of face-to-face classes. So your internship can be your only thing that you're doing in the last semester. It is competitive, okay, to get a job at the end of the program, to be very honest. But there are students who get jobs, way before they graduate. There are students who get internships way before they are due to do an internship. It all depends on how much time and effort and what are the avenues that you're putting in. You might end up applying to 1,000 companies and not get one response back, and you might just do it for 20 companies and you might have 10 of them reach out to you. So it all depends on what are the methods. And it's not always about, oh, I spent 20 hours applying, so I should get responses. Well, if you have not employed the right technique, then that's a problem. It's like this, sitting behind the wheel of the car and saying that, I have the steering in my hand, but I'm still at the same spot. Well, we need to start the car first. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, I would. And what we do is we talk to students who are having those challenges, we, one-on-one or in groups, to help them understand that what are the different ways that can work. Another thing is, and this is a reality, to be honest, that nobody knows what that silver bullet is. Like, here are the 3 things you should do, and this will definitely get you a job, because every organization is different. The time or the openings that they have are different. So there are a lot of factors that play in. So what you do is you hit on each of those points and something will work out. And by the way, since you asked about the competitiveness, so you are competing against the entire country. So it doesn't matter whether you're in a big or a small program, you're competing. But what we do is through our partnerships, when we bring in companies, that's where we cut that competition for you. Because that company is coming that day only to hire from our program. So yes, those opportunities definitely help. The program doesn't give day 1 CPT. To be very honest, day 1 CPT, and there are universities that do that. The whole purpose of CPT is that you learn something and then you're applying it at someplace. Day 1 CPT, you don't have skills. What will you apply? So that's the reason why we don't go with the day 1 concept. And that's why we want you to complete at least 18 credits so that you have something substantial to take to your organizations. Dean's Excellence Scholarship is for the flex students only. Yes, as I said, other programs might have their own scholarships, which is restricted to those programs, but Dean's Excellence, when it comes to the $1,000 award, which also changes your tuition to in-state if you're an out-of-state student, helping you save 50% of the tuition. And just to give you an illustration, there is, and in fact, we'll put the link of the webinar that we did a few weeks ago on financial planning, where I discussed a lot of different scenarios as to how you can pay, what the estimates will look like and how you can pay. But the Dean's Excellence Scholarship, let's say you take 9 courses or 12 courses, not 9 courses, 9 credits or 12 credits in a semester, you will, I would say, save anywhere between 15 to 20,000 in the first 2 semesters on your tuition. What is the meaning of TA? TA, Kachi, is a teaching assistant. They help instructors with their classes. They don't teach, but they are the ones who help with grading, or they hold office hours for students, etc. And any other help that the instructor might need in the class. Does Dean's Excellence reduce? Yes, we just talked about that by a flat. No, it's so again, it's not a 50%, like there is no direct 50%, but the difference between our in-state and out-of-state rates is almost 2 times. So that's why we say that the savings that you have is 50%. So for your scholarship, all you need is your scholarship letter, your application, and that essay where you describe why you need a scholarship. And then that's it. And your official GMAT and GRE scores should have reached the school by May 1st. Now, here is one advice for scholarship. When you say that this will help me financially, that's a common denominator. Every scholarship helps everybody financially. So what is there different about your application? Talk about how that will help. How will this scholarship or this support factor into your academic pursuits? Or what will help you do a better job as a student if you get this scholarship, as opposed to just saying that this will help me and it will help me with my loan or whatever it is. Because who wants to pay tuition? If I give you something at a reduced price, you would want to go with that reduced price. So somewhere help us understand how the scholarship factors into your academic pursuits rather than the fact that it saves you money. In other words, don't cite the obvious. Cite something which we don't know about, how this will help you. So as I said, there is no hard and fast rule that people with scholarships cannot be considered for TAs or RAships. We try to not do a double dip there. But let's say you're the only candidate for a particular position. And TA-ship, by the way, it's not an academic award. It's a job that we have, and we look for the best candidates. If you are the one who's there and you're the one who can do that job, and you also have a scholarship, we'll go with you. Our preference is to make sure that non-scholarship recipients get that, because we want to help as many students as possible, because it comes with a substantial fee reduction. How do we register for advising, academic advising, which is put as a hold? So again, there will be advising orientations, and right now advising is also working on removing your hold so that come the first week of April or the second week of April, whatever your appointment is, you can go and register for your classes. That'll be done automatically. See, the profile, when you talk about our profile, so fall, we generally get anywhere between 300 to 400 students. Spring is about 100 to 150. And these are averages. And summer is about 20 to 30. And again, as I said, all of you don't sit in the same class. There are different sections. There are different times. You choose what you want to do and how you want to do it. Dean's Excellence Scholarships, of course, they are giving out on rolling basis. So which means if you have applied today and you are within the competitive range of what we need, you will get a response. Now, as we get closer to the deadline, there are lesser and lesser scholarships that will be left over to give out. So that's where we ask students to apply. But if you're applying by May 1st, don't be dejected. Still go ahead and apply. Make sure your essay and your scores are received by us by that time, May 1st. What is going to be a total batch student? We don't know, but anywhere from 300 to 400 in fall. It's our largest entry. And again, because we have the ability, our model is very different. We don't have in the flex program, it's not small classes that everybody ends up taking the same set of classes. I think that, and again, that is every university's preference, but I think by giving you the flexibility, we are giving you more power to design your degree the way you want to. Will the recording be available to us? Yes, we actually put all our recordings on our YouTube channel, so definitely go ahead and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get an email as well with this recording. Any RA? So to be honest, research assistantships are mostly reserved for our PhD students, but the benefits are similar as to what a TA gets. So you are eligible for TA-ships. Someone with 5 years of work experience as data engineer. Absolutely. In fact, if you already have that experience as a data engineer, data engineering piece of it then is set for you. What you now need to know is the analytics piece, the presentation piece, the analysis piece, and I think you will really do well with your past experience. Also, when you encapsulate the experience and what you're learning in the program, the other thing that you will see is because you have that experience around something related to data, you will understand things in a very different way in the program. For that matter, even if you come from a non-ITCS background, but you have something that has been quantitative, you will still have a good understanding. If you have no background that can help you with analytics, you still will do well. And that is our #1 USP. Yes, we attract a lot of good talent, but we also have some students who may have done really well in one stream of life, but when you look at the analytics side of things, they don't have any experience. So are they bad candidates? They're not bad candidates. They are uniquely skilled for something else, and we use that and leverage that experience with analytics, and they do well. In fact, some of our best candidates have not had any analytics experience, and they did superbly well in the program. So doesn't matter if you've not even touched a computer, don't worry. And that's what we take pride in. We can polish even an average Joe, and make them really good so that they can go out and work well in the industry. Are there any cases that student got full-time internship with OPT visa after graduation instead of full-time? Oh yeah, Gboard. We have a lot of international students, and I would say if you're looking for a job and you want the job, we track our numbers on in different periods. So before graduation, 3 months and 6 months. Before graduation, I would say 1/3 of our students get their offers. Within the first month or 2 months, that 30% becomes 70, 80%. 3 months is 90+%. By the time we hit the 6 month, everybody has a job. If you're looking for a job, you will get one. And the market in which we are, Dallas-Fort Worth, is busting with jobs. You don't even have to leave the Metroplex to look for a job anywhere else. But our students go all over the place, so that's there. And these OPT visas on which they get these, not OPT visas, the F1 visas on which they get these jobs, students how would I put it? I would say that a lot of these companies, in fact, almost all of them, they even sponsor them for further visas, like H1Bs and all. When will the application start for spring 23? Well, if it's not already open, it should be open in the next few weeks. Will there be any option for? Yes, so every incoming student can apply in fall and spring. There are no summer scholarships. But once you're a continuing student, you only apply in fall semesters. Sayed, these scholarship decisions will be announced on a rolling basis. They're announced on a rolling basis. And if your application is competitive enough to get that scholarship, you will be told. You will not be rejected right away if you don't make it, because your profile is put back into the pool again for reconsideration. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 cycles after which somebody gets a scholarship. But the committee meets every 2 or 3 weeks, and they look at the profiles, they look at people, and then they make that determination whether somebody should get a scholarship. And they'll keep putting your name back until about the 1st or 2nd week of May, and then after that they will come back to you. If you have not received a scholarship, they'll give you a reject then. But until the whole cycle is over, no rejections will be sent out. Kisley, if we don't get a scholarship this year, can we apply a second year or second year? So it will be every fall. Is there a prerequisite needed? Who's coming from? So if you, Shivam, if you have a calculus background, that's all we need. If you don't have that, if you have not taken a course that covered calculus, then in the first semester, we'll ask you to take a course, a foundational course in quantitative business. Rashmi, to receive your I-20 at UTD, I'm going to paste a link here in the chat that can help you with that. We'll see if I can respond to you. Yes, I can. So if you just type receive I-20 UTD, that's the first link, but I've put it in the chat as well. Do we need to complete some credits? Yes, 18 credits before you can start an internship, and that requirement is as of now. If it changes in the future, we will keep you posted, but it will be it won't be like that in the first semester you can start your internship. In the past, we used to have students complete, if they are international, they need to complete 2 long semesters. If they're domestics, at least 1 semester, 12 credits. We used to have those kind of requirements. Right now, it's flat for everybody, 18 credits, and you can start your internship. What are the prerequisites to the course? Well, again, for every course, there are different prerequisites, and those prerequisites are part of the programs. It's not like that you will complete those and you'll not get credit. For program, the prerequisite is professional development, 1 credit. And if you don't have a calculus background, we will assign you that course. And look at your admit letter. Your admit letter will tell you what are the prereqs that you need to take. At max, there will be 2 courses. Professional development for everybody. And if you have at least 2 years of work experience in the US, not for a US-based client, but in the US, then that professional development also can be waived. Pranavi, the scholarships are given on the basis of a lot of different criteria. We do look at your GRE and GMAT. And by the way, GRE and GMAT is not the only criteria. A lot of you sometimes may feel that depending on your GRE and GMAT, we will give you scholarship. That helps us standardize your academic ability. Let's put it that way. Every university is different. Their grading scales are different. Their competitiveness is different. Maybe there is one university where you get like a 3.2 GPA and you're considered top of the class. And then there is another university where you get a 3.5, and that's an average number there. So every university is different. So what we do is we use a standard test like GRE or GMAT to make that determination as to, okay, what would be a good way to measure your academic ability. But on top of it, your undergraduate scores, your resume, your profiles, your letter of recommendations, and most importantly, when you talked about scholarship, your essay, all that is taken into account before a decision is made whether you should get a scholarship or not. Shivam, well, thank you so much. Happy Holi, everybody. Yeah, I kind of, for a moment, I forgot that, yes, it's Holi today. Those of you who are celebrating that, happy Holi. A couple of questions that are prerequisite. Okay, I answered that question. Where can I find the course listing? So the catalog was posted. If you just scroll down, you will find the catalog. Where can I find the unofficial transcripts such as PDF? Yes, PDFs are acceptable. That's okay. Again, unofficial is you scan your transcripts and you send it to us. That's unofficial. The official ones need to be attested. And please do not send any originals. We don't need originals. We need a copy of your original transcript or your original degree and have them attested. Either put them in an envelope, attested copies, seal it and put the stamps on the seals, mail it to us, or if your undergraduate institution can send the attested copies, soft copies, via email to admission@utdallas.edu, that is also acceptable. Or if your institution can use a service like TrueCopy, these are online services where institutions, they share documents with other institutions, all that is acceptable. LOR, yes. One from professional, two could be academic or professional. Dates for spring 23. So the start of classes would be somewhere in the second week of January, but the application should be open anytime now. How can I qualify for Dean's Excellence if I was exempted? Well, you will need the GRE or GMAT for the Dean's Excellence scholarship. Internship duration. So again, every credit that you are taking for an internship, including the 0 credit, in that semester, you'll have to complete at least 80 hours. So which means, let's say you took 0 credit for an internship or 1 credit. You need to at least work for 80 hours. Now you can work for 400 hours in that semester and still just claim 1 credit. But let's say the next semester you decided I want to take 2 credits now. So now your minimum requirement changes to 160 hours. 160 hours of work, not in a week, but over that semester. And that's all we need from you. Lakshmikant, you can simply reach out to jsamgradvising@utdallas.edu. But if you're talking about removing the holds, they are working on it. So it will be removed by default. You don't have to really reach out to them. Prakash, the average that's a difficult number to give because depending on the competency of the applicants, that number can be anywhere. We could have 30%, 40%, 50%, 60% of our students, but we definitely know that over the course of the degree programs, a lot of our students get scholarships or TA-ships or they get some kind of support. I would strongly recommend to go and watch the financial planning webinar. And another thing, since we are talking about scholarships, a lot of our students don't come in with a scholarship, but they end up getting some kind of TA-ship or scholarship also in the subsequent semester. So don't think that if you don't get a scholarship, it's the end of the world. Not really. Let's say worst case, you don't get even anything from us. We might help you get that internship that pays you so well that will take care of all your financial obligations. So there are multiple ways to do that. And I strongly recommend that please read that, not read, watch the webinar, Financial Planning, because I talked about a lot of different scenarios then, and that'll give you a better idea as to what your expenses will look like to attend UT Dallas. Okay, we are at the top of the hour, so I'll quickly look at all the questions that have been posted until about, okay, so 9:34, Kisley, that's the last question. Until there, I'll take up. I have no GRE. What will be the chance of getting D? Well, you need GRE for Dean's Excellence. So there is no minimum for TOEFL or GRE. I mean, the higher the better. Our averages have been around 310, 312 for admits, and generally our scholarship GREs go above that. But that's averages. You know, every pool is different, so you can have a different one. Is it possible to study one semester online from India? Well, again, you will have to make sure that you only take online classes. And if that's what you want to do, reach out to me on the email and I'll see if I can, switch you to the online program for that semester. And then later, when you're ready to come to the US, we can move you back into Flex. But reach out to me because it's a special case that you have. Our chances of scholarship much more in fall semester as opposed to, well, we give out more scholarships in fall. But the chances, if you have a competitive profile, absolutely, and you've applied within time, if you apply very close to the deadline, the chances are that, there are lesser scholarships that we can give at that point of time because we would have given a lot before. No, Nisha, I didn't say that you can't apply. Please, everybody can apply for TA-ships. Our preference is that we try to not pick up people who already have a scholarship. But if you're the candidate, we will go with you. But having said that, and I'm so glad you asked this question, Nisha, there are tons of on-campus jobs, irrespective of whether you have scholarship or not, you can apply for those jobs. And there are students that do that, a lot of them. I mean, we are proud to have almost every department have student workers, and student workers are the largest group of on-campus workers technically that we have. So whether it's the library, dining, parking, the policing, student worker positions in our departments, front desk positions, our Office of Information Technology, IT support. I mean, there are tons of places you can work. It's a good experience as well working on campus. If I get rejection for the scholarship, will I be completely rejected from my? No, so scholarship, if you don't get a scholarship, doesn't mean that you're not admitted. And by the way, you need to be admitted to be given a scholarship. And please do accept your admissions, those admits. There is no seat fee. There is no fee to accept the admission. And can you apply for scholarship without GRE? No, we need GRE. You can apply, but if there is no GRE, we won't consider anything. I have 3 LORs, so will that be acceptable? Well, one of them has to be professional, somebody who's a working professional. We have to submit our official transcripts before the start of the second week. You can submit it after coming here. Yeah, just make sure that they are packed in an envelope that is stamped and sealed by your undergrad institution. If you have the ability to mail it, in my opinion, send it upfront because let's say, worst case, now a lot of students drop it, that's not a problem. But let's say there's some problem with your transcript and they want a new copy while you are here, and it may be difficult for you to get it. But that's just me. If you want to bring it, just bring it in. When you say 2 LORs from the same entity, I'm assuming you're talking about the same organization, and that should be okay. Of course, it cannot be from the same person, but yes, same organization should work. For fall intake, when portal is going to open for choosing courses. So you should see, go and check out Orion for your appointments. Somewhere in April, first week or second week, you should have your appointments, and then you can start enrolling. And all your holds by then will be taken care of. All right, so the last 3 questions, Lakshmi, AS, and AK. I just want to be respectful about everybody's time here. What happens if the visa gets rejected for fall? Can we use the same admit for? Well, if it gets rejected, you can go again for another visa, and there are a small group of our students that do that. If they get rejected, they wait for a few weeks, they go again, and maybe the second time they get it. But let's say you're very close to the start of the semester and it is still rejected. you can always reach out to us, and before the start of classes, defer your admission. You can defer your admission by 1 academic year, so you can again try if you need more time. Studying online and completing credits is going to impact OPT or internship process? Not really. I mean, you have to complete. Now, here is the thing. Right now, the requirement is 18 credits. In the future, if it changes and you have to complete 2 long semesters in the US, let's say if we change that requirement, right now it is 18 credits. Yes, you'll have to complete 2 long semesters in the US if you're an international student. If you're a domestic student, doesn't matter how you do this. And OPT, by the way, requires you to be enrolled on an F1 visa, or not for at least 1 semester, but you should be enrolled as a full-time student for 1 academic year before you graduate. Now, when you come for your ISSO orientations, they will discuss this in detail. And for that matter, if you have any question that impacts your immigration, let ISSO be the last person who responds to that question. Don't just go by what your friends are saying or I or somebody else in the program says. Go by what ISSO says. Okay. Last question here. If I'm rejected for fall, can I reapply? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. But remember, whether it is an application rejection or it's a visa rejection, something has to change the next time you apply. You can't have the same set of things and expect a different outcome. 3 LOR from the academic exam. Yes, at least 1 professional is needed. At least 1. Okay, well, we didn't do bad. We completed all our questions there. Again, as I said, please let the questions come to us. You can send us your questions at, and I'm going to put this in the chat, the email address. And msboan@utdallas.edu is the other one. But please send your questions. We want to make sure that your questions are answered and you make a very informed decision before you come here. It's a major step, whether you're a domestic student or an international student, to start a degree program. So we want to make sure your questions are answered. The recording will be sent through the email to all the registered participants. They will also put it on our YouTube channel, the Jindal School of Management. So subscribe to that because there are a lot of good videos out there that you may want to watch. And we'll be in touch very soon. We'll have another webinar specifically for our fall 22 admits and even our summer admits to help them with the process of registration. But do well, have a good time, and all of you are celebrating the Festival of Holi. Have a good one. Stay safe, and we will be in touch with you all soon.